I'm recovering from some dental work earlier this week, and so I sound a little funny, but I'm back in the forge and back at it. And speaking of which, I'm going to be working on a couple different projects this morning. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification button. First things first, let's find out which hammers are forgeable and which are cast and going to just turn into sparkly mashed potatoes. I'll get a couple of those in there. What I wanted to do, and I'm going to be doing here, I'm going to review a couple sets of tongs. Now, this past weekend, Cheyenne and I were at Robbie Bowman's grudge match in Sevierville, Tennessee, at the Forging Festival hosted by Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Well, our friends from NC Tool were there, and it just so happens when I got up on stage, some of the tools were missing, which that happens. They got carried off, they got brought back. So I said, hey, give me just a second. Hopped down, grabbed one of my hammers, which was way too light, and I got a set of 3/4 inch NC Tool, we'll call them modified bolt jaw. Now, these are pretty versatile tongs, and I'm going to compare them to something. We got these that we call dragon tongs from Iron Dungeon Forge, and you can see that there are some similarities between these. Now, these will hold flat stock if I absolutely have to. I can hold bar stock on the end. I can hold bar stock to the side. I could hold a reasonable size knife tang or round stock or square stock to the side. Versatile tools. Well, Cheyenne decided she needed the 1/4 inch pair because frankly they are cool pieces. And I would say we paid around $50 a set for it. Well worth it. And as you can tell from the heat coloration on this, I've been using them. Now, I did pick up a couple of bars of 5160 I'll be forging. But what I want to do first, I want to start working on some hammerheads that I'm going to forge in a small axe head. Or something cool, I don't know. We're going to find out, guys. Once more, if you haven't subscribed yet, great time to do so. Now, we've got several events coming up, and those events include some shows that our friends Hope and Austin from Pappy's Castle will be attending. Now, I don't know how to read that, but hello, I hope you're having a great morning. So one thing, I know I've got another axe head around here that I was working on. I don't know where it got to. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it probably fell on my bucket over here at some point. Oh, no, it's down there in my my tub to be ground and finished. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to see what I can do with these tongs. I'm essentially going to test the versatility. So I've got some used ball peen hammerheads. It looks like this is going to hold okay until I get this portion, the ball peen squared out to hold on to it. Let's see how much control I've really got with these tongs. I'm primarily going to use these tongs in forging. Now, I may have to switch out depending upon how they work and depending on how I'm using it so forth. Let me go ahead and tighten this down. And tongs for a blacksmith are much like tools for a mechanic. You always need one more set. You always need to add a little more to the flexion. And it looks like one of those hammerheads is up to temperature. So here we go. Is it forged or is it cast? Let's find out. Well, that looks like it is, like it's a forged steel. All right, turn this around. Hey, those tongs look like they might hold just fine. Find out with the second hammerhead. Is it forged or is it cast? Well, it looks to me like it's a forged hammerhead once more. I have got a hold of them before that were cast, and they might forge a little bit and then they just kind of went fine. Okay, so far these are working pretty good. I was able to hold on to the hammer face, forged this out, had reasonable control, turned it around. I'll be at a diagonal, but it should work fine. Now the next step of the process, I'm going to, probably should have just kept holding my hammerhead. I'm actually going to compress the eye down and so I can drift it out. So I'm going to smash this down because I don't want it round like it is right now. I want it more squat. And that's going to also elongate that eye when I start drifting it out. And once I get that drifted out, then I'll go in and I will start forging that axe blade. All right. So I should probably get ready. I've got a couple other projects right here that will be coming up shortly. I'm going to need a punch. Look, a punch. That should work. Okay. A.T. Smith, good morning as well. How are you doing? Let's see if this works. Well, that worked okay. Going right back into the forge. I'm kind of assembly lining these, doing 2 at a time. I think I got 6 total. Now these little tomahawks, these little axes, they sell quite well. And I'm supposed to have some more small tomahawk handles on the way, some more mouse lock handles. Now whether those Those got ordered or getting ordered, I'll find out from the guy in just a bit. But there you go. There we go. Now we're going to go back into the forge. Now, at this point, I got to do a little bit of hand work. Oh. And move my nasty quench water I use for cooling off mild steel and so forth. Okay. Next step of the process right here, I got my swedge block. I've got a couple different grips here, but the one I'm primarily going to just work on using this punch to get everything opened up. So we're not going to a tomahawk eye yet. We're just going to stretch everything out. And so far, that's working okay. Getting all that opened up right there. That worked pretty good as well. So the idea is that I want to stretch that eye out, see one, how big I can get that. I don't want to stretch too much because I will risk fracturing that out. And in many cases with drop forged hammers and axes and so forth, what can happen, these pieces are often made in one heat in a factory using a multi-stage press. So when you're doing those, or with die forging, excuse me, and in that process, a lot of times they don't do a second heat, it's one or none. And I don't mean that they don't heat it, I just mean that it either happens or it doesn't. So, from the forging, initially you can have stresses or fractures or, just stress points in general in those tools. So reforging, that may come out. It's much like reforging an old blacksmith-made piece. We'll find out how good his welds really were on that axe. Well, these don't have any welds to them, but what can often happen is that you're taking cold metal and you're beating cold metal with it. Well, guess what? That can cause fractures. And yeah, I guess you can make an axe out of something that big, but that's going to be that'd be a way heavy tomahawk. All right, guys, here we go. Now, this is a live video. For some of you, you may be saying, hey, do you get up every morning and just start forging? Yeah, I do. Now, I can show you, it's starting to get a little thick on the side, so I may thin that out at some point. Come on. But I also don't want to get it too thin. Now, can I get a full-size tomahawk out of that? Maybe. I'm likely going to anchor something with a smaller eye like a mouse hawk. But if I get one or two of these to stretch a bit, I'll do that. I've had a lot of people ask, why do you use ball-peen hammerheads to make tomahawks and axes? Well, it's already the right proportion in material, and it's already got an eye in it. It's fun, and it's fast. Well, bills are a factor, and this is actually how I pay my bills. It's how I bought my properties, vehicles, and so forth. So, a lot of it just depends on how you invest into it, and if you're like me and you get lucky and be able to do that. But yeah, it started out supplementing, and then as the business grew, my supplemental was making more than my regular job, so I needed to quit the regular job because it was costing me too much money to go to work and not be in the shop. Strange how life works that way. So what I'll be doing, I'll keep forging, just keep opening that eye up. When I get to my stopping point, then I'll determine what I'm doing handle-wise. I would kind of like to put a little larger handle in it, maybe even kind of a medium-size, intermediate, not quite a full-size tomahawk, but kind of a, halfway between that and a mouse tomahawk. Once more, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to do so. I'm often in the shop, not always, but I'm often in the shop from breakfast time until right before bedtime. And sometimes running errands in between. I plan on doing a couple videos today, and appreciate it if you guys share this on out. I may be able to stretch stretch this for a bit, but at some point it will get too thin. That is not what I intended to do. There we go. Now that that punch is starting to get hot, so I'm going to have to put some gloves on shortly. I always thought it'd be cool just to be able to get up, go out to my shop and make a broadsword or to make a Bowie knife or start welding up Damascus or make tomahawks. I've always been a fan of tomahawks. You can't tell by my videos and the axe throwing and maybe some of the tattoos and everything. And then I got to the point in my life when I could do that, and that was just an amazing thing. And friends came in and joined in, and it brought a lot of people together. Some of those people fallen away over time, but that's kind of part of life and it's a journey that we partake in. All right. Well, I think I'm just about to a point where I can use my Richard punch right there. Let's find out. Oh, yep. Open up enough. Now this is quite loose on the handle, but that's okay. I've also cracked that handle. I'll be replacing this soon. But in the meantime, it is going to do what I need it to do, and that is just to hold that and manipulate that head while I'm striking. That part I was talking about, I'd have to replace that handle soon. That would be now. Well, if it ain't one thing, it's another, people. Got one right here. It's got a knot. Not sure how deep that knot goes, but just a bit too narrow. I ain't gonna reach front and back on that. I've known some guys who don't wedge these and just drive in and say, hey, it keeps it from splitting. Well, good for you, buddy, but I need something that's gonna hold on. see. It didn't happen too well. You know what? I got this hatchet handle right here. But I'm pretty sure I can modify it. Sometimes I save my handles, sometimes I don't. Okay, so what I gotta do, gotta knock that out. Well, I saved one of the wedges, I dropped the other one. Okay. That's woo. That's still got a wedge in it. That's okay. Yeah, here we go. A bit blunt, that one's a little sharp. And there it went. I wonder if I don't have a bigger wedge down in there. Well, somebody will complain about that means of securing. It is pretty terrible. All right, guys. Back at it. Now I'm going to do some more drifting. There we go, looking good. Okay, so it took a little longer to get that wedged in there, but it looks like it might work for now. Gonna get that heated up. We'll get that heated up and stretch out some more. John, I completely agree with you because that right there definitely needs trimmed up a little bit. I deal with a lot of mushrooming on a lot of the drifts and everything. Eventually I end up with much shorter tooling. But while that's coming up to temp, I will use this as an opportunity to go ahead and dress that up. Go. All right, now I should be up to temperature. right. Looking good, and hey, that did drift out enough. I can use that for a standard tomahawk once I get to that point. There we go. A little more drifting, and then I'll be going back and doing some more work on the power hammer. Okay, AT Smith, yes, we do classes. We're located here at Axon Main Forge Memory at 409 North Main Street in St. Elmo, Illinois. We're just off of Route 40 and Interstate 70. There are other locations, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, 172 Old Mill Avenue. Robbie Bowman, that's a home shop right there. Be sure to check them out. But yes, we do classes on a lot of different fun stuff. I'm gonna wait on that. That's gonna be power hammer time. Once more, if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification button. Okay. No, it's not a homemade grinder. That's a mini dictator. I've owned a lot of these. Something I can pick up and put together for $1,000, $1,200. So it's not quite disposable, but it's something that I've had when I've had multiple shops, and it's something I don't worry about getting tore up. I can replace the wheels easily, and I'm pretty happy with it. One I had for years. A friend of mine, Ted Coons from INC Forge, ended up getting that one off of me, put new wheels on it and everything, and he's still using it to this day. All right. Well, that's generally how big I dripped them before I dripped them. Before I dripped them with the tomahawk grip. All right, guys, coming on over here. Drawing out the tongs. Plenty of control right there. pretty basic design, really. The chassis on that, primarily plate steel and box tubing. The cool thing is that takes, I want to say, 1.5 square arms, so I can go get 1.5 box tubing, drill it, make all kinds of tooling arms. Very affordable, and that's one reason that I like to do that. Well, A.T. Smith, if you're ever in the area, be sure to stop on in. Okay, that eye looks terrible right now. It'll look better, I promise. see. I did not know Tom McGinnis. Tom McGinnis was also a Forged in Fire alumni. Very talented man. I used to own one of his videos when I was younger. I was learning. And he had one on doing a rasp hawk, and I think a Damascus knife that had rasp teeth impressed into it. Tom McGinnis was a cool dude. I always respected his work. Very cool, John. I did not know that. Very, dude. Of all the people that I always kind of wanted to meet, Tom was one of them, and I don't think I ever got, I don't know if I ever saw him at Blade Show or anything like that after I did Forged in Fire. But I do remember, I don't remember if it was Dave Baker or somebody posting about his passing. Tom was a very respected man in the bladesmithing community and otherwise. Absolutely. Okay, guys, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring my receiver up. Here's my receiver. And I'm going to get my drip, which, yes, that needs dressed. I know that. I'm going to lubricate the drip. Get myself a glove. Grab my NC tool tongs. And I'm going to start bottom up. Now the reason I teardrop that to begin with is for alignment. When I start drifting like this. Oh man, I broke that hammer too. I'm breaking all kinds of stuff today. You can see how that starts to round out that eye. Now these axes aren't likely to be spikes. I'll probably go ahead and cut that down on the back. I guess there's enough meat here I may be able to reuse this hammer, but that split right out. Man. It's going to be one, yeah, if it ain't one thing, it's another. So, I'm going to go ahead and re-lube this. And I'm just using some canola oil I got to the side I use for recycled steels and so forth. I've also got some Quinchol 521. That works pretty good. $75 a gallon, I don't use it to lubricate my drip. Somebody will turn that into an adult joke. This one one on the next round, I'll probably come in from the top. It's not the final drifting on these. I want to come in from the top of that final drift so it tapers from the top. The handle slides in from the top, and being that the handle is tapered as well, no wedging or pinning is required. All right. Yep, let's go ahead and drift from the bottom real quick. I didn't do a whole lot of cool too quickly. I realized that one I needed to do from the top, but I didn't pay attention. Okay. Alright guys, so here's what I'm going to do. I want to keep working top to bottom until I get that to where I want it. And I'll check the alignment to make sure my blade isn't askew to the handle, in this case the drift. And I'm going to make sure that it is in alignment with the eye as well. So when you're doing an axe or a tomahawk, you need to make sure, one, that your blade is in line with the handle, unless you're doing some kind of weird broad axe or something like that. You also want to make sure that it is straight with the eye. That's not a good example, but maybe you get an idea of what I'm saying. And then if you have anything coming off the back, a hammer bowl, a spike, an adze blade, anything like that, a pipe bowl even, you want to make sure that that is all in line. So there's a lot of finishing, a lot more points to check than just like with a knife blade. Although knife blades can corkscrew and so forth. Tangs can be offset. Kicked up is more of an issue than being down. Okay, that is about as far as I can go on the bottom drift here. Realistically, you wouldn't think you'd be able to get that big of a tomahawk or axe head out of a hammer that small, but it is possible. Now what's about to happen here, the top of this is about to break, of the drift handle is about to break off because it's been fractured so much from cold hammering, and that'll be neat when it does. I'm going to do a little bit of profiling to that tomahawk head. Let's use my new hammer I made. Warm up just a little bit. I do need my rounder for that one. This would be that one. And I believe I'm going to grind that off versus trying to fight it. Then again, I might fight it. We'll find out. Going back to drifting on this one right here. That second piece. This one does twist off to the side a bit, so I'm going to have to do some correction there. All right, here we go. Now, let me look. This one is going to get the little handle on the back cut off, so I can go ahead and normalize. Now, the fun part, it's not really that fun, but it's part of the process. I've got a short section of tomahawk drift I got to find, and I'm going to put that in the eye, and then I'm going to start fixing that eye. All right. I know where it is. I gave it to Austin. All right. throw it on the ground to test its durability. Good, it's passed the durability test. Woo. Getting warm in here, people. Once more, if you haven't liked and subscribed yet, be sure to do so. Oh yeah. Telling you what, I thought the long sleeve shirt was a good idea this morning. I'm going to have to put on something with less sleeves. A lot of people don't do normalizing on hammers and axes. With those steels, you can still have grain growth, which can cause brittleness and so forth. So I do like to do some refinement on mine. And I find I get a better product that way. Definitely warm in here. I disconnected, sorry about that. When am I live? A lot of times it's anywhere from 10 to noon or 9 to noon, somewhere in there in the mornings, and then a lot of times in the evening. Sorry about disconnecting there. I hit the wrong button. But I'm getting that point to where it's going to be starting on some other projects. I need to change shirts. You guys have a great one. We'll catch you in a few. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification button and check out the links in the description. We'll catch you a bit later.